I'm Nan Hilliard. I live here. But actually, when I go to sleep, I sleep in Winthrop Harbor, so I will be voting for you guys as well. So I have an interest in this as well. And we are here, this is a joint effort of the library and the Winthrop Harbor Chamber of Commerce. So this is brought to you by the people who are working on economic development in the village. And it will slide over tomorrow when the Zion Area Chamber of Commerce and the Winthrop Harbor Chamber of Commerce will be co-sponsoring the candidate forum for the high school board tomorrow morning. Then we are doing Zion Township and City tomorrow afternoon. I think I can keep this straight, I've got to be here. And then Sunday afternoon we have Beach Park, which has 4 mayoral candidates and 4 or 5 village trustee candidates. If you think you guys have an interesting challenge, come Sunday, it should be really, you can just kick back and listen. But our format this evening is that we've got everybody seated. The key here is by office and then in alphabetical order. I'm a librarian, I can do alphabetical order really, really well. And I think I got it straight, so I can keep my credential. The candidates will have 3 minutes to make a personal statement. Jeannie Anderson is our timer, and she will warn you at 1 minute and at 30 seconds left. We will start with the mayoral candidates, and then we will, excuse me, not mayoral, unless you're seeking higher up mayoral candidacy, it's be real quick. We will do the municipal trustee candidates first, and then we will have the school board candidates, and then we will turn it over, and then we will do the questions, and then we will have an opportunity for closing statements, if you still have other insights to impart to everybody. So it gives you an opportunity to do that. So without further, and then I would, other thanks goes to George Foster, who is filming this for posterity. And this is going to be on goflow.com. So you're going to be like live on the internet. So you can tell your relatives wherever they are. And Gary Buckholz is doing other filming for the other part of posterity. So we can put the two films together in stereo or something. Is that about it? Okay. So that's a suspicious thing. Sorry, and we've got water and cookies, courtesy of the Chamber of Commerce. So help yourself to libation. The candidates who came this evening, I should go to my whole list here. Of the candidates who filed, Robert Marabella, Dana McCarthy, Kathy Luke, and Kim Braden have all filed and will be on the ballot in April. And this evening we welcome Kim Braden and Dana McCarthy. Kim. And then when you're done, you can just pass it back.
Hello everyone, my name is Kimberly Braden. I never have a speech prepared because I get so nervous. So I'm just gonna wing it, and it's probably gonna be quick, and I'll be surprised if we get anywhere close to 3 minutes. I am running for village trustee. I am currently a trustee. I love Winthrop Harbor. I want to do everything that I can to help Winthrop Harbor. And if I'm doing a good job, that's all I ask, is the opportunity to continue to do a good job. I'm a paralegal for the government. I spend most of my time in community service. I volunteer for everything and anything that I can, and I enjoy every second of it. And this is a big opportunity for me to continue on, and I hope I get that chance. And thank you.
All right, thank you, Kim. I'm Dana McCarthy. Feel a little odd introducing myself since I think I know at least half of the people here already. But I'm running for village trustee. Out of the 4 candidates running for the 3 positions, I'm the only one who is not currently a village trustee. And I'd like to preface by saying that I'm not running because of anyone that's on the village board, and I like all the people that are on the village board, but I'm running out of an interest I've had for a long time to be involved at the village level. I came to this community about 10 years ago to become a teacher here, and I love the community so much that I decided to move here with my wife and raise our family here. And just like him, I love this community. That's why I want to be involved. I think it's a great place to live, and I want to make sure it continues to be a great place for my kids to grow up. I've been involved in the community for a number of years, both through the school district as a teacher and a leader, and through the police commission, which I've been on since 2007, and the Zion Benton Library Board that I've been on since 2009. The big things I'd like to focus on, if elected, are continuing to grow and develop great community programs for our families, our residents, and our seniors, and to help bring and develop new businesses in the harbor. In addition to being a teacher, I've also been developing over the last 3 years my own small business, or what I call micro business right now, and it's something I'm very passionate about and would like to focus on doing anything I can to help develop small businesses within the harbor. And I look forward to talking with anyone who wants to talk about the needs of the harbor. So any questions that you have, we'll get to that. But also, anyone who would like to contact me later, I love talking about the harbor and the great things we can do. So please don't hesitate to get in touch with me. All right, Steve?
Thank you, Dana. I'm Stephen Bigden Russell, and I am a write-in candidate for Winthrop Harbor School Board. And this is probably the only time in my life that I wish my last name was Smith, because for you to write in, you have to spell my name correctly. So please see me if you don't know how to do that. I am somebody who hopes to serve you as a leader within the school district. I am 40 years old, and I am very lucky to have my 3 daughters in the Westfield School. I have shared my life with the same person for the last 22 years. It's been a great ride. Although, as I can quote Pat Hodge and say, you are so lucky to have somebody that grounds you and keeps you calm. I'm running for school board because I care about children, I care about our community, and I care about our educators and our staff. And I am one that I believe I am a natural leader and like to facilitate positive change. And I hope to repay the district for the things that they have done for my daughters. All 3 have had great experiences within the district. It has been a very, very positive thing watching all 3 of them being adopted and having needs at one point grow into charming, sweet, intelligent young little ladies. Sometimes too smart, if you know what I mean. As a leader, I hope to bring positive change to the school district through dialogue and meaningful action. I am somebody who has business experience along with education experience. I served as a project manager in a purchasing organization for Motorola, and I am currently a teacher in the Beach Park school system. So I get to the unique advantage point of seeing both the business side of things and the education side of things. So I understand the money portion and the instructional issues that sometimes you hear in the news all the time about public education. Am I done at 3?
No,
Am I 1 minute?
1
Okay.
minute.
I didn't get to see that. I lost my spot here. I hope that I am able to help the district with some of the issues that I think the district currently faces, like fiscal issues and some small instructional issues, in fine-tuning things through, again, through dialogue, through discussion, through positive interaction. One of the things that I frequently hear while talking to people in our community is that they often feel like their voice is unheard in our school district. And as some people will tell you, I'm never unheard. I love to be a talker, and I love to engage people and have dialogue, discussion. And I hope to be that voice for the people, for the teachers and the staff for whom I've come to admire and appreciate, and also for the people who feel disconnected. Everybody does need to have a voice, and I would like to be that person. So with that, I say, I hope you can elect me as one of your board members as a write-in candidate on April 9th.
My name is Gene Ellison. I've been a resident of Winthrop Harbor for almost 24 years. My wife and I have 2 children that have went through the school district. I was on the school board up until 2 years ago. The reason I want to get back on the school board, I like this community, I enjoy it, I want to see it move ahead, I want to see our kids get a good education. I work at the Pleasant Prairie Power Plant, I'm active with the Boy Scouts, and I'm sorry, I'm a yard operator at Pleasant Prairie Power Plant, I operate heavy equipment and such. And I think we got a good school district. We got a very good school district. And I think that we need to keep an eye on it to make sure it stays up to date and the kids are getting a good education and such. And also to keep costs down. Okay.
Hi, everybody. My name is Michelle Good, Missy to many of you, and I am running as a write-in candidate for a 4-year term on the school board of Winthrop Harbor. I'm married to Alan, and we have lived in Winthrop Harbor for over 15 years. We have 3 fantastic children, Michael, Matthew, and Jacqueline, and all of them are presently attending North Prairie Junior High. I have my Bachelor of Science degree in Nuclear Medicine Technology, and I have been a staff technologist at Midwestern Regional Medical Center here in Zion, doing diagnostic testing and radionuclide therapies for the last 18 and a half years. And I'm gonna kind of switch things up and kind of deviate from the norm, and I brought some things I wanted to show everybody today. And this is something I got this year from my son Matt. He brought this home as my birthday present. It's something I'm gonna cherish my whole life. He painted it purple because it's my favorite color. This is from my son Michael. He got this year. This is a trophy for the soccer team. He was voted most valuable player this year in the 8th grade after playing 3 years on the team. And then I also brought copies of my kids' report cards. I've got 3 report cards here from last semester, a total of 24 A's and 3 B's. So now you're looking at me saying, this is good, are you off your rocker? What the heck does this have to do with running for school board? I am here to tell you, all of these things are products of public schools. I believe in the power of getting a good education. And because I believe so strongly that public schools can provide good education, I wish to be elected to the school board. I want to help guide the educational direction of my children and all the other children that pass through the Winthrop Harbor schools. Matt will probably not be the next Salvador Dali. Michael is highly unlikely. He'll be, the next David Beckham. Jacqueline is not going to be the first president of the United States, the first female president, but maybe one of their classmates will be. The point is, public schools such as our Winthrop Harbor K-8 schools can provide the foundation needed for success at higher levels of learning. Simple art projects, trophies, report cards show me that the Winthrop Harbor schools are doing something right. They're giving opportunities to children to explore who they are, artistically, athletically, academically, being part of clubs, receiving tassels for playing songs on the flutophone. These things can make a huge difference even though they're very small in a child's life. I want to continue that tradition. I want to continue going to art fairs over at Westfield School. I want to go to the band concerts. I want to go to the sporting events. I want to continue to receive these report cards. If elected to the school board, I will be. I have 2 sentences left.
You got 2 minutes of that.
Okay.
Or you could, Gene could have sold you a minute.
Yeah, you can.
Rick was going to sell me 30 seconds.
Go ahead, yeah, that too.
And at dinner, she said she wasn't going to be long-winded. My name's Kristen Heine. I am rerunning for election for the Winthrop Harbor School Board. I'm married to Mark Heine. I have 3 children, Trenton, Brennan, and McCarroll, all enrolled in Winthrop Harbor School District. Having 3 very active children, I'm out in the community at basketball games and baseball games and art fairs and different things. So I'm easily accessible to parents and grandparents to ask me any questions, and I do try to get those answers that they need and make sure that their concerns are met. The past 4 years, for me, have been a huge learning experience. I had a teacher approach me 4 years ago and ask me to run for school board because she thought I would speak my mind. So that being said, I did, and I got elected. I've probably been a big pain in the rear end to Dr. Geiser quite a few times. The first year and a half were very rocky for the two of us, but we've learned to work together. The first year, again, was a huge learning experience for me. I've attended several educational forums for me to learn what a school board member does. I've kind of rearranged the approach. I go in and I talk to the administrators and teachers, not demanding, because as a school board member, I can't tell them what to do. I just need to let them know what the community is experiencing and let them do their job. I do not think that Winthrop Power School District is perfect. They're close to perfect, but with everything, there's always some areas that need help. One area I've consistently had a problem with is the class sizes. Again, that's a lot to do with, and I didn't think I was going to take that long. That has a lot to do with the budget and what we can afford to, as many teachers to hire. With that being said, I guess I will wrap up here. I'm sorry. I didn't plan on being here, so I'm kind of shooting from the hip, so I apologize. But again, my name is Kristen Heine, and I am rerunning for Winthrop Power School Board District.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, for coming tonight. My name is Rick Lambert. I'm seeking re-election for Winthrop Power School Board. This is the end of my first term. I've served the last 2 years as president. The reason I ran for school board in the first place is I grew up in the Zion Winthrop Harbor area, and I remember going through high school and thinking the best and the brightest kids, they all seem to come from the harbor. And I wanted to be part of it. And that's a large reason why I'm here. I have very strong educational values and fiscal values. And I think considering what's gone down with the state and funding and everything else over the last 4 years, that the current board has done a really good job getting through the crisis, basically, that's been handed to us. The reason I want to run again is I don't feel that our job is done. There's many more things coming down the pipe from the state of Illinois, more budget cuts, pension reform, and I'm actually looking forward to the challenge of working with the administration, the staff, and the public to get that done. And I'm very excited about our new administrator, Pat Hodge, coming in. I think that's going to do nothing but even strengthen our district even more, especially educationally. And thank you very much.
And finally, I'm Cindy Nugent, and I am running unopposed for a 2-year term. I'm finishing the end of a 2-year term right now. Even though I don't need to be here, I thank the opportunity for those in attendance as well as those who may watch. I feel a need to at least explain my views and for anybody who's interested, understand where I stand in being on the board. My husband Greg and I moved to the Harbor 28 years ago, built our home here primarily for the schools and the education that it provided. I was pregnant with our son, and I became a board member in 2003 when our son Alex was in 8th grade. I waited until he was done with school. I didn't want to be on the board at a time where I may have had a personal agenda or maybe could have found myself influenced by having a son in the district. And for me, I thought it was important to wait until he was done. And I've been on the board, again, like I said, I was appointed in 2003. I am currently employed as a management analyst at the Wilmette Police Department. I've been there 3 years after finishing a 30-year career at the Zion Police Department. During that time at the police department, I had much exposure to budgetary processes, personnel and policy, union contracts, negotiations, and the grievances. And I think I brought that knowledge, and it's helped me as a board member. Being on the board, I was part of the original personnel and policy committee that wrote our policy manual geared towards Winthrop Harbor. I've been board president. I've been on the negotiation committee, been on the fundraising committee, and I think I bring some experience to the board. To describe myself as a board member, I always seek information to try to make a very well-informed decision. I have to admit, I always don't know everything. I don't think a board member up here knows what the school does. You need to ask questions to become informed, make an unbiased vote, and I think what guides my decision is trying to be fiscally responsible while still providing the best education we can for the students within our district. A couple things that I pride myself in being part of is, over my 10 or so years on the board, I've seen us focus on a K-12 kind of mission, even though we're responsible for the kids' education here in Winthrop Harbor, and it stops when they graduate 8th grade. We've worked very hard at joining the 4 districts together to provide a K-12. With that in mind, I love it when we have our graduates, as Rick said, be valedictorian as last year, and I know this year's salutatorian is another Winthrop Harbor graduate. So I think, without saying that those are test scores, but I think that shows the quality of education. I look forward to having the opportunity to serve the board again for the next 2 years, and I thank you each for coming out tonight.
Okay, we thank you all for your statements, and now it's time for questions. I hope everybody got cards and has jotted things down. Okay, we're going to allow about 1 minute per person per question. So, and I'll try to sort them out as to which are school and which are village. So, everybody. School board. There are many reasons to get busing back in the district. Do you have any plans to implement that change? And if you wanted to...
We can't hear you back here.
Okay.
Use the microphone or speak up louder.
Yes, sir. School board. There are many reasons to get busing back to the district. Do you have any plans to implement that change?
Under the current funding, I don't see that we have busing coming back on the table at this time. If we had additional funding, it would. I think we've done a very good job this year of working with the lack of busing. I'm glad that we're able to provide before and after school care, and quite a bit of attention from our staff in aiding that issue and loading the kids in the cars and what path is the safest to get them through. But I don't see busing coming back at this time, not with our current funding and trying to keep our class sizes small.
One of the things that I've said ever since we did let busing go, it definitely wasn't a favorite option at all of any of the board members. Nobody really wanted to see it go. But I've been asked many times about the busing, and my answer stands the same. As soon as I know that we don't have to ever take it away again, I'll be more than happy to vote to put it back
Um, Again, it was not an easy decision to take busing away. I myself have 3 kids, like I said, and I had to find a way to get them to school. A lot of concessions have been made by parents, but I think in our community, we've done a great job of parents banding together to get kids to school and get them home. But again, it's a funding issue, and until we can get it and give it back, like Rick said, on a full-time basis, I don't want to give it back for 1 year and have to take it away again. It was a huge rip in our community that I don't want to see happen again.
These 3 folks that have already talked to you have been on the board for several years, and I know nobody made the decision lightly to not fund busing. It's never been an issue of we want busing or we don't want busing. It's been an issue of how can we best spend our money to serve the most children. And I know that there was a lot of discussion and talking and money crunching to come up with those decisions. Yeah, there are a lot of kids that are walking on the streets. There are some streets that are not safe. But it's been a really positive opportunity. These kids are getting to school. They're not having any problems. For me to sit and say exactly what I would do once I was elected to the board and given all the information is something I really can't answer. I would love to have busing back. If there was the funding for it, I would definitely vote to bring that back.
I was on the board when we cut busing. That was one of the hardest decisions we had to make. And I would like to see it come back, but we can't afford it right now. We have to be able to fund it to where we could pay for it. And not just for 1 year or 2 years. So I would say, not at this time.
If I were elected to the board, I can't say that the day I started I would have busing back, but I absolutely would work with the board to do everything we could possibly do to have busing return for our students long-term. One of the pieces of feedback I often receive is that the choice was either larger class sizes or busing, and I have parents telling me they feel that the class sizes are still growing and there still is no busing. So I think the budget needs to be looked at overall and scrubbed and see where we really could fix things. And that was part of the fiscal responsibility that I think comes directly related to putting things on the backs of children and their families.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now we're on to the village question, so you guys can, what are your feelings on the I better use the microphone. For the village candidates, what are your feelings on the development of the lakefront? Do you believe that Winthrop Harbor should take control back from the state?
I think it would be great if we can take control back from the state. The only problem I see is that short of the village coming up with, a huge amount of money that we're not going to come up with, I don't think the state is going to give it up. I think they're just fine sitting on it, and unless we can provide them with an exorbitant amount of money, they're fine just sitting on it. I haven't seen any signs to show that they're willing to do that. So I think it's great the effort we put into it, but I don't want to get our hopes up when I think there's a lot of other ways we can develop ourselves economically that would be a lot more hopeful and a lot more productive to do. So.
This is actually something I know a little bit about, and we've been working on it pretty hard. Me only for the last 4 years. Many people long before me have just jumped in. It's definitely something I think that one day will happen. I think that Winthrop Harbor deserves the lakefront. I don't think it's going to happen in a day. It's definitely, Rome wasn't built in a day, either was Winthrop Harbor. It's going to take a lot of time, but I think overall in the long run, it would be a very positive thing for Winthrop Harbor. Dan is right, there's funding issues, there's all sorts of issues, there's getting the state to recognize us, which we really work very hard to do. And one day, I know that they will. They'll pay attention to us. We're going to make sure of it.
School board question. Why is a superintendent worth over $150,000 salary in a district of 650 children?
I have no comment for that question, really. I don't feel at this time I could speak correctly or well-informed to answer that question.
I'm not sure what the salary is right now for the superintendent. I do know that in order to get a superintendent to work for you, you have to be competitive with wages. I'm not sure what the surrounding communities like Beach Park, Design are paying theirs. So right now I can't really say.
My understanding is a new superintendent is coming in, starting in May or July. I don't know what that salary has been offered, but what I will say is quality schools attract new families to the district. It also will help, good schools will help maintain property values. Having someone with the knowledge and the education to guide that district to the success is to me, certainly worth a salary that's similar to what you would pay the physician to do your surgery, or a professional with a similar education and qualifications. You know, you'd want someone qualified to take care of your health. I certainly think we need to have someone qualified to guide our district, and it's worth it.
This one is something that I struggled with when I first was elected to the school board. I thought that he was grossly overpaid. Since then, I've learned a lot of what he does. I do agree that in these financial times when people are losing their jobs, that might seem a lot, but he is also responsible to answer the phone just about any time I call if I have a question. He works with the attorneys, he works with the teachers. He works more than just his 40 hours a week sitting in behind a desk. There's a lot of things that our superintendent is responsible for. So I know our new superintendent will be just as great. But those are some reasons. A larger district has a lot more administration below them to deviate job responsibilities out to. And in our district, we don't have that. One of the things I originally thought would be great to have a superintendent/principal. I've since learned, since my children are at the junior high, that there's a lot of discipline that needs to go on there, and I'm sorry I'm being asked to wrap up, so.
One of the things we do as a board when we're deciding on how much we're going to pay any administrator is we look at surrounding areas, like districts, and basically you need to pay what the market bears. If you try to go in too low below what the market bears, you're not going to get the quality administrator that you want to get. You're going to get somebody that's either A, using it as a stepping stone, or B, can't get a job in another district, and neither of those do we really want. And much like Kristen said, our superintendents do a lot more than what you think they do, especially without the support staff that a lot of the larger districts have with assistant superintendents, multiple building principals, and assistant principals.
I like going first better, then you don't have to have everybody else take care of it. Couple things, you get what you pay for. Our superintendent has more experience and is less paid than the surrounding areas. Something I do believe in is that leadership starts at the top, and you need to have quality leadership if you want good decisions made. The size of the district doesn't lessen the responsibility necessarily of the superintendent. The same state reports have to be done, the same mandates have to be followed. And again, without the support staff that other districts afford, it places a great responsibility on there. I would question that amount if we were not getting a good education out of our district, if there wasn't leadership being applied, if there wasn't direction, if there wasn't mentoring going on. I would say that that was too much money to pay if you weren't getting a quality product. It's kind of, you do get what you pay for. I'm very pleased with what we have, and I'm able to say that as a board, we've been able to fill the ranks then again with another quality person behind. So I think it's well worth the money that we pay them. Thank you.
Yeah, 1 minute, it is hard. However, some of these might be kind of like very quick yes/no things, so that would be good. Great, yes. School board candidates. Question A, do you have any background in budget and finance? If so, what? And 2, can you read a budget? There's a right answer and a wrong answer to that. I think if somebody said no, then that would be a little scary right now, but I'll let you answer it.
Question A, do I have experience in the budget? Right now, I'm primarily responsible for getting the budget documents together and reading the budget for the Village of Wilmette's Police Department. We have a $4.7 million budget. I think that's one of my strengths I bring to the board is some experience in budgets. And we do. I think if you attend this meeting, I'd encourage you to attend our board meetings. We do go through the budget very fine-tooth comb. A number of years ago, we changed garbage services to save, I wouldn't say it was millions of dollars, thousands of dollars, maybe hundreds of dollars on a quarterly basis because a board member brought that up as a good idea. So we are, I do think we fine-tune and oversee the budgetary process. And hopefully that answered the concern from whatever it was.
Yes, I have been involved in budgets. The last 3 places I've worked, I have been either A, department head, B, a general manager, or C, where I'm currently at, I am involved with the budget for our department. And yes, I do know how to read one.
I do know how to read one. Going into this, I had no experience budgeting. I do have since purchased my own business and have set up a budget and am doing all that type of a thing. So I think I've answered the question there. So.
Because I've not served on the school board, I do not have school board budget experience. I do manage all the finances in my home, and it's kind of the same thing. If you have a deficit, you increase your revenue, or you decrease your expenses. Yes, I can read a budget.
I too can read a budget. I don't have much experience with it as far as, other than the school board, family budget, that's about it.
Does it pay print money?
Pardon me?
Never mind, that's,
Yes, I can read a budget. Actually, one of the things that I did when I worked for Motorola was a cost savings analyst, and my job was I was given budgets, and I had to find all the ways the company could save money, which was just loads of fun, but absolutely I can.
Okay, thank you. Our next question, actually, we will address to everybody. So we'll start with Kim and we'll move our way down. What should stay the same and or what should change between the governments or school districts of Beach Park, Zion, and Winthrop Harbor? So I think they're talking about inter-community cooperation. What should stay the same or what should change? I just read it. I didn't write it.
I hope I get a little close on what you're looking for. What should change? Everything needs to change at some point in time. That's how the world works. But I can't pinpoint one thing right now that needs to change. In my opinion, what I'd like to see change is the community involvement. And I've always felt that way. I still feel that way. I don't know how to bring that together, but one day I'm planning on it. I'm telling you, I'm going to do it. So, and lots of things are always going to change, and I'm sorry, I just can't think of anything because the question's a little tough.
And you're first, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there are times when we're 3 communities, and there's times when we're 1. And some of those times when we're 1 are quite obvious. You know, when it comes to overall education, we share a high school, we share a library, and share a number of other resources. But I think one of the things we need to keep in mind is when it comes to economic development is that, you know, we share customers, we share not just citizens, but, you know, residents of Winthrop Harbor shop in Zion and Beach Park, and residents of Beach Park and Zion shop in Winthrop Harbor. So I think we need to encourage, you know, citizens to, you know, we need to promote each other's businesses, programs where they overlap, whether they're community programs. My family's taken advantage of Zion Park District, things that, you know, weren't available in Winthrop Harbor. So I think continuing to grow and offer those. Did I go over on time already?
Yeah.
It goes so fast when you're talking. You think it feels like it's so long that someone else has spent one.
Can you just say can you repeat the question?
Yeah, what should stay the same and or what should change between the governments or the school districts of Beach Park, Zion, and Winthrop Harbor?
Wow, that's a big, long question for a minute. And it depends on really who you ask or what they're thinking and what day it is and what way the wind is blowing. But I know from an educational standpoint, people have often repeatedly talked about merging the 4 districts into one to try and save money. And I don't have the research behind me to say whether that's a good idea or if it's a bad idea. Right now, I think things are working well separately, but people have talked about a lot of cost savings measures, like reducing the number of superintendents. You'll still need the same number of principals. You will still need most likely the same number of teachers, unless that you move students depending on the boundary. So it's really a tough question to answer unless it's a little bit more specific about what this person is looking for.
As far as the school board, I know that the 4 districts have been getting together once a year with the school boards and having a joint meeting, and the staff has been meeting with the other districts. And that's a very good thing because they're all feeder districts to this high school, and they have to work on the curriculum, what you have to have for your kids in the high school. Also, another thing is the schedule for vacations, because you got to kind of coordinate it, because you got families who want to go on vacation over spring break or Christmas break or whatever. And that's a good part. As far as the village goes, I'm not too sure, so.
One of the things that I think would be great to stay the same is the attempt to have the consistency among the school districts that feed into the high school, and just the quality educational services that our Winthrop Harbor schools offer. I'd like to see that stay the same. The one thing I'd like to change, and this is from my experience when I volunteered at Westfield School, is getting more parents to help out, coming into the school, volunteering a little bit of their time with the larger class sizes. That makes a whole lot of difference if a couple kids can be pulled out for just a couple minutes a day to read or practice their sight words. So sometimes that's just a matter of communication, getting the word out to the parents to get them to offer up a little bit more help.
As a school board, I know that a few of us have come up with ideas trying to share services with the surrounding school districts to kind of lighten the financial responsibility on our taxpayers. That hasn't always, at this point, the ideas have come haven't taken off. I don't want to see our school district combined. I think it should stay in our boundaries and not be combined into one big feeder school into the high school. I know we have also, as a school, begin to work with the police department. We had our snow day, for example. The police department allowed us to use their automated call system so that all the parents were notified that there was no school. So we are starting to build that relationship. The police department is out and about helping in each of the schools on a daily basis.
I'm going to expound on what's already been said. Cindy's right, it's easier to go first. The biggest thing that does not need to be changed is something that I know Dennis has worked very hard to make happen, and that is working with the other 3 districts to try to combine and get their curriculums in line and make the high school the best it can be. As far as something that does need to be changed is what Kristen started to talk about with shared services. Again, Dennis has been working very hard, but when the other school districts aren't in quite as financial dire as we are, it's a little bit harder to convince them to do so. And I believe that's probably the biggest thing we need to look at, whether it's special education or business office services. It'd be a good thing to happen.
Well, I think that the K-12 vision that the 3 districts share is probably the one thing, too, that I'd like to see not change. We work on Common Core together. We work on that K-12 vision. And I think that, to answer the question, is one thing that shouldn't change. I think one thing that I would like to see improved is the communication between the taxing bodies. I think the question was between the communities, not necessarily geared with the school board. I think within Winthrop Harbor, there even needs to be better communication between the taxing body of the park district, the schools, and the village as we address our citizens with either funding or decisions that are made. The city can make decisions that affect the school. I think a better communication there would improve the services that we can provide, and maybe through the 3 communities, maybe a joint park district, or when decisions are made that affect the other community, whether it's the schools, park districts, or the villages, cities, I think we could improve our communication there, and it would improve the services that we can provide.
I've got several cards because these are kind of omnibus questions. And this is just a kind of a quick one that you could raise your hand. Who is a teacher of all of you? Okay, thank you. Who is married to a teacher? Who is related to a teacher? It says related. I don't know whether like your mom or your dad was a teacher. Anybody? Okay, I hope that that will answer that questioner's question of that. So we have a teacher in another school district who is running for this school board, and we have a teacher in District 1 who is running for the village board. So hopefully that clarifies their affiliations. Because if you're a teacher in the school district, you can't run for your own school board. I do know that that would be, State Board of Elections would have something to say about that, I think. I think that this is teachers, but it could be village as well. Who is in favor of increasing salary the last year for employees? So I guess that has to do with pension amounts. Who is in favor of increasing salary the last year for employees?
So I'm in high school right now, last year of any of the non-teaching employees get a $10,000 increase. The final year of employment.
Okay, well
that means they get an additional $5,000 on pension.
Okay.
Now, our former school superintendent left Winthrop Harbor, went to Zion as school superintendent again, and he got a tremendously large increase his last year before his retirement. I have had conversations with different school board members, and their comments always were, we don't have to worry about that because we don't pay their pension. The state does. Well, guess who pays state taxes? And that came straight from the school board first month.
I think the question says, who's in favor of a raise upon, do it again and again.
Well, as he was explaining it.
No, read the question, Sally.
Who is in favor of increasing salary the last year for employees?
I hope my employer does. How's that? No, my employer.
Mine does too, and I work for a taxing body too.
They
so,
don't
yeah.
do that. I was trying to be funny. I was just saying, boy, I wish my employer would do it. The state of Illinois has a restriction on how much you can. It's some contractual language. There is contractual language that is there, but there is state mandate. If my understanding of it is up to 6% raise can be given that will come, that's allowable. If it's above that, it falls on the district. And we do not do that in Winthrop Harbor. We do not do that.
That law just came into effect within the last 4 years.
Correct. Am I in favor of more than that? No, I'm not. Does that answer?
Because of the abuse that's been given.
And so there's some guidance there, and if the question is if I'm in favor of more than that, no, I'm not. Okay?
People are always asking, well, how do we come up with this big pension, crunch we're in right now?
And I am in favor of what they're getting now, their increases over the last 3 years when they give enough notice. And only because a lot of our district employees are well underpaid for what their education is, what their degree of expertise is, and how many years of service. And I do like to make sure that they're taken care of, because a lot of our teachers go a lot longer than the 55 that a lot of people think they go. So I think it's important for them to be taken care of. But no, do I think it should go above that 6%? Absolutely not.
In an effort to not completely reiterate what they said, no, I would not be in favor of giving a huge raise on top of what they've already been given.
I go along with the rest of them. I do not believe in giving a huge raise at the end or the last year of employment just to boost retirement benefits. I don't believe in that.
I don't believe in giving these big, huge raises either. I think 6% is probably the max they should even think about it.
I have to agree with everybody that I don't believe that we pay those big bucks out at the very end.
I think that was the last group of questions I think we got are almost more informational questions. So whether our school board candidates, I don't know whether it's a minute apiece or whether Dr. Geiser or Ms. Hodge could answer these. Is there a PTA? That's a yes or no.
Yes.
Yes. Has the teacher-to-student ratio been changing, and by how much? The answer is probably yes, but I don't know by how much. A lot? A little?
In some grades, yes. In
Okay.
some grades, yes. Yes.
Okay.
The PTA though is in our school district, sorry, PTO is right. It is a PTO and it is on its last leg. We do need to get parents to be more involved. They are needing a lot of help, so anything that anyone could do would be greatly appreciated. Sorry, just wanted to add that because it could not be there someday.
And we did have a referendum pass and taxes went up to support the schools. Taxes never go down. What can we expect in the future? And I think we can all talk about equalized assessed valuation, and as the administrator of a taxing entity, I know a lot about EAV and how it is not improving tremendously. So that's the situation for schools and parks and villages as well. I'm editorializing here, but indeed, economic development, folks, is what's going to help raise the boat for all of us, and that's something that's critically important. But I'm not running. For the school board candidates, I've got just a couple more. Besides kids in school, what qualities do you bring to the board?
Besides kids in school, the fact that I've worked in public education for 13 years, and I know and understand how the system works and how decisions affect children significantly and their families, and how we need to be mindful of that.
The qualities I bring, I have 2 adult children now. I've been very active in their lives throughout their growing up. And I hope to continue. My eldest son is married now, and I'm hoping that when he comes along with a grandchild, I'll be able to, a grandchild for me, I'll be able to spoil him rotten. Other than being a homeowner and a family person.
Some of the qualifications that I would bring to the school board is that I'm an honest person, I'm a fair person, I'm respectful, I'm organized, and I have a strong belief in the power of receiving a quality education.
I try to be a fair person, going last, okay. I'm active in the classrooms. A lot of times, if I just stop in to talk to Dr. Geiser, I'll walk through North Prairie Junior High, and I do take the opportunity to speak to teachers and listen to what they have to say. And while I can't always be their best friend, I do try to take those concerns to administration, let them know what is being, what their concerns are. And again, I'm in a Lions Club and quite a few other organizations within Winthrop Harbor, and so getting out there and hearing what our taxpayers want and what their concerns are, and trying to help with that.
Being married to a school teacher, I think I have a little bit of insight, not being a school teacher, but I have insight on what they want. And I think I have a talent of being able to disseminate personal feelings and everything else when it comes time to voting. And every time that I vote, I truly do believe I'm voting for what's the best interest of the entire district, children, staff, taxpayers. I'm a taxpayer in town just like you are. I don't want to see my taxes go up any more than you do. And I do have a very strong educational and fiscal values.
I think the question said besides children. I don't have children in this district. I don't have grandchildren in this district. I'm not married to a teacher. I don't have teachers in the family. I'm just very passionate about the education that we provide our students in this district. The qualities I bring is I believe I'm extremely approachable. I don't have an agenda. I make well-informed decisions, and I'm active in the community, whether it's through our church, through the Rotary Club, through book club, or through Zumba. I think I put myself out there so that I can be approachable and accessible to people who have questions about the school board. Not that I always have the only answer, but at least when they bring concerns to me, I can bring them to the school, or I can explain why a decision was made, or if a decision was made, or at least help dispel some misconceptions. And we all know how that happens, and that's not, you have to have people who are out there in the community who can, oh, I got the big T here. Thank you.
We've gone through the questions that were submitted on cards. I think to the satisfaction of everyone, so I think it'd be time for, you can have up to 2 minutes to do a closing speech, and we'll start with Kim. Or not, you can say, up to you. You can tap dance if you wanted to. No, Kristen teaches that, you know.
No, I don't teach, I don't like to teach.
I knew I should have married someone with the last name with a W or something, but I didn't. And I don't have a lot of follow-up to the way I started. I've always remained the same. I'm very passionate about Winthrop Harbor. I've always been very passionate about Winthrop Harbor. I try to base any decision I've ever made on the best interest of Winthrop Harbor, and has nothing to do with my personal opinions, which sometimes is a little bit difficult, but Winthrop Harbor gave my family so much, you know, with the home and the school, and it's just my time to return that favor, and that's all I'm here to do.
Much like Kim, I'm passionate about this village. I love it. As I said, I came here because I thought it was a great place to live. I came for the job, and I stayed because I loved the community and wanted my kids to be raised here. I think the village is great, and I think there's so much potential for it, and I want to be a part of doing everything I can and using my energy and my abilities to help meet and surpass that potential. The biggest challenge I think we face is how to grow and bring new people to the village, and I think the most important way to do that is by developing small businesses. So that's really the main focus of why I'm running, is I'd like to see us both as a village government and as a community and citizens to do whatever we can to help empower people to start small businesses, bring them into the village, help them grow, support them, because I think it's really the key to our future. And like I said, I want to use everything I can to just be a part of helping out this town that I've adopted and that I love. So.
This is interesting listening to everybody talk and about all the different things, but I'm here to tell you that I hope that you do vote for me as a write-in candidate. I am not a native of Winthrop Harbor or Zion or Beach Park. I actually came here and moved here. Actually, under protest, to be totally honest with you, back in 1995, I hated leaving the city of Chicago, but this has become my home, and it has become a place that I love. My church is here, family is here, my children's school, of course, is here, and one of the things that has inspired me most, even as a teacher, is being the parent of my 3 daughters, and I really feel that I am the person that can having passion about helping children and about helping their families is somebody that would be a big asset on your school board. I am not one that is afraid to ask tough and difficult questions. I love to have conversation about that. I'm a very fair and forthcoming person. When you get to know me, you'll just really appreciate that about me. But I hope to be a voice for all of the people of Winthrop Harbor, not just some, whether it's some of the teachers, again, and staff that I've come to really admire and respect and appreciate, or if it's the people who feel disconnected. I hope that I'm able to be one of the people that brings them back into serve the school in some way, serve our community in some way, and feel connected to energize everybody and do great things for the kids and the generation that's coming up.
Thank you. The reason I'm running is because I want to serve our community. a number of years ago, I went into the military because I wanted to serve my country. Now I'd like to serve my community, where I live, where my family lives, where my kids have grown up.
When I first met my husband and we made a determination of where we were going to live, he had been a long-time resident of Winthrop Harbor. He suggested that we live there, and I asked him, I said, why Winthrop Harbor? What does Winthrop Harbor have to offer? And at that point, I knew we were planning a family, we were going to have children, and that was the driving force to bring us to Winthrop Harbor, because the schools were so wonderful. And statistically, their test scores of the children that come out of our district have been very high in comparison to other local districts and state districts. And I think that's a qualification, or that's a testament to the job that our teachers are doing. And I want to be the driving force to help continue that. And I certainly think that there is no reason we can't do that without maintaining fiscal responsibility within our district.
I hadn't originally planned on being here. I was supposed to be in Green Bay at a training conference, so I apologize if some of my answers were all over. It was a last minute decision. I got one of my teachers to take my conference for me. But like Misty said, getting married, my husband and I started looking for homes, and the first thing my parents said to me was, you need to live in Winthrop Harbor. Buy as small house as you can, but buy one in Winthrop Harbor because they have the best school district out there. And having friends who have kids who go to Beach Park in Zion, and just the different problems and educational things that they have to overcome that our kids don't, has been a testament, again, to the teachers and the administrators. While I might not agree with everything, that's just not going to happen. No one's going to give you 100% agreement in everything that comes as far as a problem. Having a business, I am starting to look to move it to Winthrop Harbor for our kids. I am very passionate, and our family has started to try to give back to the community, so that is another reason that I am running for the school board.
You've kind of stole my answers, but I'm going to give them anyway. Like I said, I grew up in the Zion Winthrop Harbor area. We lived in Zion my entire life until 12 years ago when we decided to move here. And we decided to move here for one and one only reason, and that was the schools. Obviously, the economy has taken kind of a tank over the last few years, and new homes and people moving into homes and foreclosures have gone the opposite direction of the which way you want them to. I just want to see Winthrop Harbor be the reason people are moving to Winthrop Harbor. The schools be the reason. And I think if we have strong schools, we can overcome a lot of the economy woes with tax dollars and everything else, people moving back in.
I want to thank you for being here. Not just being said, but your questions give me insight into what your concerns are. And that goes back to the communication piece I spoke about earlier. I think we as board members need to make sure that we are connected to the community. And again, I thank you for what you've asked tonight, because it tells me what's of concern to you. I do look forward to serving the board for another 2 years, and I do take pride in being a board member. It's not always easy. You put yourself in a position where people judge your decisions. My decisions are made when I ask a lot of questions. We've made a lot of tough decisions, but I can take pride in the fact that they were well thought out and fiscally responsible, with the thought of trying to provide the best education for our kids we can. I promise to do that again for the next 2 years.
And with that, we have reached the conclusion of this evening's festivities. would like to express appreciation to Gibby and George for their film work, to Jean, Kayleen, Phil, and Karen for working on behalf of the library and the chamber to staff this, and to all of you for coming. A reminder, the high school candidate forum will be tomorrow morning, and Zion will be tomorrow afternoon, and Beach Park on Sunday. So thank you all for taking time out of your busy weekend or begin your weekend. How about that? Begin your weekend with the candidate forum and for your civic participation. Thanks a lot.